Hey, what's up? It's Nathan here with thebtccourse.com. In this video, we're going to go ahead and set up the Coldcard, which is an air-gapped Bitcoin-only hardware wallet. And so we're going to go ahead and set it up. We'll go through a couple settings. We'll receive some Bitcoin. We'll send some Bitcoin, and then we'll end on passphrases. So we got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so you do need a couple things before you get started with your Coldcard. So it is ideal to have a micro SD card, so one of these things right here, so that way you can actually do the air-gapped functionality of it. If you don't have this, then you could go ahead and plug it straight into your computer, but you know that kind of eliminates the point of it being air-gapped. And if you don't know, air-gap just means that you have a gap of air between your device and your computer that is connected to the internet. So that makes it a little more secure because, you know, this thing's never touching the internet. So you also need a USB-C cable. So hopefully you can kind of see that right there, what that looks like, in order to go ahead and, you know, power on your Coldcard. And I actually have a battery pack, so I'm going to go ahead and plug my USB cable into this battery pack, and then I can power up my Coldcard. So let me do that. And so here we are inside of my Coldcard, and let me go over some like navigation instructions, which are pretty self-explanatory, but you can see that the 5, 7, 8, and 9 have arrows on them, so that means that you can use that to control the screen basically. We got an X for decline and a check for accept, so pretty self-explanatory. Probably could have figured that out. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here and accept the terms and conditions. So now I have this number right here, this 33975 number, and so in the shipping, like on the package that the Coldcard actually comes in, there's this package here, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it says 339754, and it should match what you see on the screen there. And there's also this, which is inside the packaging, and it should also match what you see on the screen there. And I've already done this check, and it matches. So you're basically verifying that the Coldcard is the correct one that came in, you know, the waterproof, secure packaging. And you're making sure that it hasn't been tampered with or anything like that. So let me scroll on down here. The number should match, blah, blah, blah. Take a picture, contact support if it doesn't match. And okay, so sounds good. All right, so now we have to go ahead and set up a PIN code, or there's advanced tools or bag number or help. And we're getting started. So we're gonna go straight to choose PIN code. So select that option. All right, so choose PIN, pick the main wallet's PIN code now. Scroll down, be more clever. But an example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has two parts, a prefix, 1, 2, 3, and a suffix. So something to note right there. Each part must be between 2 to 6 digits long. Total length can be as long as 12 digits. The prefix part determines the anti-phishing words you will see each time you log in. So you'll see that in just a second, what the heck that's talking about. So your new PIN protects access to this Coldcard device and is not a factor in the wallet's seed words or private keys. All right, so this PIN is simply for this Coldcard. It doesn't actually impact how your Bitcoin is stored on the blockchain. So it's not like a passphrase, for example. If you know what a passphrase is, it's not that. All right, and we'll talk about passphrases later on too, so you'll see that as an example. There's absolutely no way to recover a forgotten PIN. Write it down. Okay, so don't forget this PIN. It is, while it's unique to this Coldcard, if you want to access this Coldcard, you need to remember this PIN. No way to factory reset or anything like that. So if you forget it, you know, this Coldcard's a brick, and you might as well go throw frisbee or play frisbee with it. All right, warning, there's absolutely no way. Okay, look, see, super serious. No way to reset, factory reset. That's what I just said. Your PIN, don't forget your PIN. Do not forget the PIN code. Press 6 to prove you read this end of this message. All right, so pressing 6. All right, so enter PIN prefix. 1, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, do something a little more complex than this. All right, so write these down: alcohol and priority. So Coldcard gave me this card right here. Hopefully you can see it on the camera. And so it has spots for the device PIN because they want you to write it down. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down real quick. So hopefully you can see my card right there. I wrote down the first, or the prefix of my PIN, and also the words right there. So alcohol and priority. So let's scroll on down, or press check. Okay. So the rest of the PIN right now. So I'm going to do 4, 5, 6, and check. So enter PIN prefix. 1, 2, 3. Enter. Recognize these words? Yes, I do. Rest of the pin 4, 5, 5, 6. Saving. And so now it gives us a couple options. We can go ahead and do new seed words, which is what we're going to do. But additionally, you could go ahead and import existing or help or advanced tools or settings. And we're not doing any of that right now. We're going to go to the new seed words, click X. And so we have a couple options right here. So we have 24 words, which is the default. We have 12 words, which is a little less secure than the 24 words, but it's still secure. And if you're trying to memorize it, then 12 words is obviously much easier to memorize than 24 words. So yeah, if you're trying to do memory stuff, 12 words might be better. There's also 24 word with dice roll and 12 word with dice roll. And so what Coldcard is doing here is, well, when they generate a seed phrase, these 24 words or 12 words, they're going to try and do it as randomly as possible. But as with any technology, there's only so random that it can get. And so if you include a dice roll, basically you're going to roll a physical dice and generate numbers randomly. So that way you're taking the randomly generated seed phrase that's digitally generated, and you're also kind of mixing it with the physical world. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do 24 words with dice rolls because I want to increase my level of entropy or randomness. So I'm going to go ahead and click that option. But if you don't have dice or you don't feel like going through these steps right now, then you could just do the 24 word. I recommend it over the 12 word unless you have a reason to try and memorize 12 words. So 24 word with dice roll. And so now I need to go ahead and get some dice and I need to roll them. And I just, press 1 through 6 depending on what I roll on the dice. So let me go grab a dice. And so here we go. I have 4 dice right here, so I can roll 4 at a time. So I'll just roll, some dice right quick. So then I got a 2, a 5, a 6, and a 5. And then, I can take them again, roll them again, and I got a 3, a 6, a 3, a 5. And I can do that a whole bunch of times in order to increase the randomness or entropy of my seed phrase. I'm just going to leave it at 8 just to save time, but yeah, you can keep going and, just increase that entropy if you want to. So I'm going to go ahead and press X. Are you sure? You only provided 8 dice rolls, so it's not happy with 8, but that's okay. And each roll only adds 2,585 bits of entropy for 128-bit security, which is considered the minimum. You need 50 rolls for 256 bits of security. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to go okay. Hey, so quick correction. So when you do that dice roll, it's not actually combining the digitally generated seed phrase and your dice rolls. It's just doing your dice rolls. So if you do decide to roll some dice, make sure you do at least 50 rolls. 99 or more is actually what's preferred. And so I just wanted to clarify that real quick. And now it wants me to record these 24 secret words. And of course, I don't want to share these with anyone, and I want to keep them as safe and secure as possible. So you want them waterproof, fireproof, no one can find them anywhere, because this is basically your username and password for accessing your Bitcoin on the blockchain. So if anyone gets hold of these 24 words, they can get your Bitcoin. Even if they don't have your Coldcard, but they have these 24 words, they can get your Bitcoin. So you want to keep these safe and secure. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and write these 24 words down and be right back. Alrighty, so I've written down all 24 words on my card here. So let's come back to my Coldcard and I'll go ahead and scroll down. Please check and double check your notes. There will be a test. Okay, cool, check. Alright, so what word 23 is, and so I gotta scroll down. Or I gotta press the number, so it's 2, camera. So word 20 then is attack. And so I just go through and I confirm that basically I wrote down all of my words. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. And so I've entered all 24 words and now it's applying my settings basically, or my seed phrase, or my private keys. And so it's gonna go through a couple settings now, and it wants to know if I wanna enable NFC or near field communication. So that means basically I could tap my Coldcard on my mobile device or maybe a credit card scanner and make a transaction or sign a transaction and so on. So I'm actually going to go ahead and enable this, but if you're not going to use NFC functionality, probably want to disable it, and you can always re-enable it if you want to do it later. So it lets you tap your mobile phone on the Coldcard, transfer data easily via NFC. You can change this later under settings, hardware on or off. So I want to enable it, so I'll do check. And then disable USB port. And so if you intend to operate in air gap mode, where this Coldcard is never connected to anything but power, then this will disable the USB port. You can change this later as well. So if you don't want to ever plug this thing into your computer and you only want to use the SD card, then you would go ahead and disable this. But I'm going to go ahead and enable it because there's another function called virtual drive that we'll want to use at another point in time, possibly. And that'll probably be another video. Sorry, there's only so much I can cover in this video, but whether you turn it on or off right here, you can always do the opposite later on. So that's good to know. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit check. And actually, I just disabled it. So that's fine too. I can go ahead and re-enable it later on. And so here we are inside of the device for the first time. And probably the first thing you really want to do is go ahead and upgrade the firmware and make sure you're running the most current version so that way you have any sort of security patches and stuff like that and all the latest and greatest features. So here I am on the website and it shows that the latest version is version 5.1.1. So to check what version that you have, come on into your device and we can scroll on down to Advanced Tools, and we'll enter that. And then we'll go to Upgrade Firmware, enter that, and then we can show version. So 5.0.7 is what I'm running from October 5th, 2022. So if we scroll down here, I can see that I'm running this version right here, and I could go ahead and upgrade. So what I want to go ahead and do is on this website, I want to go ahead and download this file right here. And I want to go ahead and save it to my micro SD card. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my computer real quick. So there we go. It automatically popped up, my USB drive E. So I'm going to go ahead and download the MK4 version because that's the device that I have. So I'll click on that. And I'm going to go ahead and save it directly to my micro SD card. And so there we go. It's downloaded right there. So I'm going to go ahead and now take that out of my computer. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my Coldcard. If I can get it out. Alright, so let's go ahead, and there's the micro SD slot right there. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that thing in. And then I'm going to go ahead and back out of here. And then it gives me a couple options. So I can go ahead and update from micro SD, which is what I'm going to go ahead and do. So select that option. So pick firmware to use, blah, blah, blah. There's only one file to pick from. Yep, okay. So I'll go ahead and press enter, and so there's the file right there. So I'll go ahead and press enter again, and then it asks me if I want to install this new firmware 5.1.1, which matches what's on the website. So that looks right. Binary checksum and blah blah blah, and check. So now it's verifying and upgrading my device. And there we go on the home screen. I don't know if you saw that, but it showed 5.1.1, so that's awesome. So now I need to go ahead and enter my prefix again. 1, 2, 3, check. And then do I recognize these? Alcohol and priority. Yes, I do. So no one has tampered with my device, so that's good. Now if somebody has tampered with my device, I might see some different words up there. So maybe someone got hold of my device and entered the wrong pin a few times. Well then, it might show some different words, so then I know somebody was kind of messing with my device. So if I don't see alcohol and priority, I know something's up, and I should be a little careful, doing any sort of transactions or anything like that with my device because maybe someone gained entry to it and, put a virus on it or something like that. So anyway, I've never seen that actually happen, but apparently that's what it's there for. So now I need to enter the rest of my PIN though. And so it's loading up, and I should have the latest firmware on here, which is exactly what I want. So now that we're running the latest firmware, it's time to go ahead and set up our wallet so we can receive some Bitcoin, send some Bitcoin, and do some stuff with passphrases. So let's go ahead and scroll on down real quick to Advanced/Tools and open that on up. And we want to go ahead and export wallet. So go ahead and select that option, and then you can go ahead and select which wallet you want to go ahead and export to. I'm going to be using Sparrow wallet because that's my preferred Bitcoin wallet, but if you're using any of the wallets that it shows here in the Coldcard, you probably want to export that file. But if you're using Sparrow wallet, and I have a video on Sparrow wallet, which I recommend checking out, if you're interested in Sparrow wallet, follow what I'm doing here. So anyway, I'm going to come on down here to generic JSON. So I want to go ahead, if you're using Sparrow Wallet, generic JSON is the correct file type. So I'll enter that. Save JSON file with XPub values that are needed to watch typical single signer UTXO associated with this Coldcard. Press 1 to enter a non-zero account number. Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and press 1. So account number. So what this does is it basically creates a different account for your seed phrase. And if you don't know what you're doing, you can mess some stuff up. So the recommended option right here is to just leave it blank and just press check, because it's probably not worth messing anything up. So blank is perfectly acceptable. It doesn't add any security or anything like that if you select a value there. So blank is good. And so it gives me a couple options right here. So I can press 1 to save generic export file to the SD card, which is probably what I want to do. Or 3 to share via NFC. So since I enabled NFC, I could go ahead and do that, but I don't want to. So I'm going to go ahead and press 1. And so there we go. Generic export file written, Coldcard export.json. And okay, so it's on my micro SD card. So now I need to go ahead and pull that thing out of my Coldcard. I need to go ahead and plug it into my computer. And so now here I am in Sparrow Wallet. And what I want to go ahead and do is File and New Wallet. And I'm going to go ahead and name this Coldcard Demo. And I'm going to go ahead and create the wallet then. And again, I have a video on Sparrow Wallet. So if you're interested in it, I show a bunch of different features and functions and stuff like that. I'm going to go real top level in this video, but if you want more details, link in the description down below. All right, so now we need to go ahead and connect an air-gapped hardware wallet. So that's what a Coldcard is, air-gapped hardware wallet. So we'll select that option. And it gives us the option right here for Coldcard. So import file. And then we want to navigate to the file that we just saved to our micro SD card. So that's on my USB drive E. And I see the option for Coldcard export.json. So that's the one I want to go ahead and select. So I'm going to go ahead and open. And there we go. I don't want to change any of these settings. It is a single signature. And we want to go ahead and leave the script type as the default because that's the most universal. So yeah, let's go with that because we're not trying to be fancy with our Bitcoin and lose it doing something silly. So anyway, native SegWit's the option, all the default settings. There's label, Coldcard, master fingerprint. That's something to note. So I'm just going to note AAC as my last 3 digits right there. Just something to keep in the back of my mind. And then going to go ahead and click on apply. And then Sparrow Wallet asks if I want to go ahead and set a password for this wallet. Now this password is simply for the Sparrow Wallet file, and it would encrypt the Sparrow Wallet file. And so it is recommended to set a password, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And just like that, I've set up my Coldcard on Sparrow Wallet. Now the thing to do is to go ahead and receive some Bitcoin. So I clicked on receive right here, so I can generate an address to send Bitcoin to. Now, one thing to note real quick, let me come back over to my Coldcard right here and exit out of here, and we'll go ahead and exit out of this one too, and exit out of this one as well. And let's go ahead and come up to Address Explorer real quick and open that on up. So the following menu lists the first payment address produced by various common wallet systems. So choose the address that matches what you see on your computer, blah blah blah, 4 to start or 6 to hide this message forever. I'll go ahead and do 4. All right, so it gives me a couple of addresses, and what I want to try and do is identify the address on here that matches the address on Sparrow Wallet, and hopefully I can find it. If I can't find it, then something's funky, and I need to probably reconnect my Coldcard to Sparrow Wallet because something messed up along the way. Maybe something got corrupted in the JSON file or something like that, but you should find what you're looking for right here. So I scroll down, I see BC1Q7HD5 dash and then MTUZCTJ. So that looks like it matches what I'm seeing right here in Sparrow Wallet. So that's a good sign. So I'm going to go ahead and click on X or check mark. And it gives me a couple options. So I can go ahead and save my address summary file to the SD card, or press 2 to view a QR code, or 3 to share via NFC, 6 to show change addresses. So I'm actually going to come up here to the top, and I actually want to go ahead and save it to my SD card. So let me pull that out of my computer real quick and plug it back into my Coldcard. And so I'm going to go ahead and press 1 now. And so it's saving 0 through 250. So the first 250 addresses that my wallet has generated will be saved to a file on my Coldcard. And then I can put that file on my computer. And then I can compare what my Coldcard is saying to what Sparrow Wallet is saying. And basically I'm just making sure like the addresses kind of match up. So that way nothing got funky between my Coldcard and my computer. So basically I'm just being paranoid at this point. You don't probably have to do this once you verify, 1 or 2. But if you're sending millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, it's probably a good idea, to confirm everything. All right, so the Coldcard is saying that a new file has been written. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my micro SD card out of this device, plug it back into my computer. And so here's a CSV file that I have now with a list of 250 addresses. And we can see the first one matches BC1 7HD, blah, 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 and TUCTJ. And so that matches. If I come to addresses though, and then I look at my file, I should see the same thing. So MEGP, MEGP, ANDH, ANDH. So it looks like, my file transferred securely and safely from my Coldcard to my computer and my addresses all match. So something you probably want to confirm if you're sending large amounts of Bitcoin. It's not worth messing around in my opinion. But anyway, it looks like the Coldcard and Sparrow Wallet match, so I am good to go. All right, so now what we got to go ahead and do is actually put some Bitcoin, in our wallet so we can go ahead and secure it, and then also so we can send it back. So this is my first address, and so I'm going to say from Coinbase KYC, and I address, why I name things certain ways in other videos, links in the description down below. But I'm going to go ahead and grab this address, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to Coinbase. So let's say that, I buy my Bitcoin from Coinbase, and I wanted to go ahead and send it to my hardware device to keep it offline, cold storage, all that type of stuff. That's what I'm trying to demonstrate right here. But if you're sending it from another exchange like Binance or anything else, you would send it similarly to your Coldcard, or you could send from another wallet to your Coldcard, similar process. So I'm going to go ahead and send and receive, and I want to go ahead and send, and I'm just going to send $20 worth. Now normally I wouldn't send $20 worth because it'll be eaten up by fees. Also, every time I send a transaction, it creates a new UTXO, or unspent transaction output. And if I have a lot of UTXOs, well, then my Bitcoin can be eaten up by fees later on if the fee market is high. So usually I wait till I have at least $1,000 worth of Bitcoin before I send it. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to send $20 worth, and links in the description down below if you're unfamiliar with UTXOs. But yeah, $20, normally wouldn't send, wait for $1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my address right here and go ahead and click on continue. And I'm going to go ahead and click on send now. And then I'm going to go ahead and view transaction. And it gives me my wallet address. And so then I'm going to go to mempool.space. And I'll plug in my wallet address right here. And I'll go ahead and search. And there's my transaction. I can see it right there in the first block. So hopefully within about 10 minutes, my transaction will be confirmed. And then I'll be able to proceed to the next steps. Now let me come back over to Sparrow Wallet real quick. And let's go to transactions. And I can actually see my transaction. It's currently in an unconfirmed status from Coinbase KYC. And there's the value of Satoshis that I'm going to receive, and so on. So there's my Bitcoin. It is on its way. And once it's fully confirmed, we'll go ahead and send it. So I'll be back when that happens. Alrighty, so my transaction is confirmed about 11 minutes ago. We have one confirmation. And if I look at Sparrow Wallet, I can see like 1/6 of the pie chart is filled out currently. So good to go. Now I can go ahead and send this Bitcoin. So let's say that, 3 years passes by and Bitcoin shoots up to $1 million, and I want to go ahead and sell this Bitcoin in order to go ahead and buy a house. So I want to go ahead and send it back to an exchange so I can go ahead and sell it. So what I want to go and do is click on send, and I need to go ahead and send it to an address. So I'm going to go back to Coinbase, and I need to grab an address so that way I can sell my Bitcoin. So over to send and receive. And this time I want to go ahead and receive. And it gives me an address to send it to. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that address. I'm going to go back to Sparrow Wallet. So I want to send to that address right there. So sending to CB to sell to buy a house. So there we go. Now I can go ahead and select the amount I want to send. I'm just going to go ahead and do maximum, and then the fee that I want to go ahead and pay. So let's go ahead and look at the mempool. And I have a video on the mempool, so if you're interested in learning more, link in the description down below. But to be in the next block is about 21 sats per vbyte, but the one after that is about 5 sats per vbyte. So if I'm at like 7 sats per vbyte, I should be, definitely in this second block. So let's come back over to Sparrow Wallet, and let's set our fee to about 7.17. So sounds good, which is about 22 cents. And then we'll go ahead and create that transaction. And then I need to finalize that transaction for signing. Now, one thing that you can't do is click on this sign button, because our Coldcard here is our signing device. So we need to go ahead and export this transaction in order to go ahead and sign it on our Coldcard, so that way we can send it to the blockchain, or broadcast it to the blockchain. So let's go ahead and click on Save Transaction. And I want to go ahead and save it to my micro SD card. So sending to Coinbase to sell to buy a house. PSBT. PSBT stands for partially signed Bitcoin transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and save it right there. And then I need to go ahead and pull it out of my computer. So let me do that. And I need to go ahead and plug the micro SD card into my Coldcard. And then I'm going to go ahead and back out of where I am. And back out again, back out again, back out again. And so I'm on the ready to sign option right there. So I'm going to enter that because I'm ready to sign this transaction. So it's validating. So OK to send. So it's asking me if I want to send that 0.00070091 Bitcoin to address blah, blah, blah. And so I can go ahead and confirm the address that I'm sending to. So this should be the Coinbase address. And so, yep, that looks good. So press X. So partially signed, updated PSBT, partially signed Bitcoin transaction, sending to Coinbase, blah, 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 finalize. Okay. So now I need to pull the micro SD card out of this thing, and I need to go ahead and put it back into my computer. And then I need to go to load transaction and navigate to my micro SD card. And I want to go ahead and select the file that says signed. So there we go, house/signed PSBT. Now it also added a house/final.transaction. So like if for some reason like I mess up and I close this window out of here, I could go ahead and do file and open transaction and file, and then I could open that whole transaction file, and it would open the file from scratch with the signature on it already. But I already have the file open already, so it's already open. So I can go ahead and do load transaction, and I can select the signed one instead. So select the signed, partially signed Bitcoin transaction, and do open, and there we go. So now it's been signed, and now I can go ahead and broadcast that transaction. So I'm sending it back to Coinbase now, and there we go. New mempool transaction, 70,881 sats have left my wallet. Let's go ahead and copy that transaction ID. We'll come over to mempool.space and load up that transaction ID. So there it is. I'm sending my Bitcoin back. And we can see my fee, 790 sats or 22 cents, 7.71 sats per vbyte. So everything that I just selected in Sparrow Wallet, I can see here on mempool.space. So it looks like it is working. And obviously that was what I was expecting to have happen, so that's good. And that's pretty much how you can go ahead and set up your Coldcard. You can receive some Bitcoin, you can send some Bitcoin. And now let's go ahead and talk about passphrases, because I know many people are interested in passphrases, so I want to cover it in this video. I'm going to go over some advanced features and functions of the Coldcard in another video. So if you're interested in advanced functions and features, link in the description down below. I'll have another video with more stuff going on in it. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at the passphrases. So here we are back in the Coldcard, and let's go ahead and back out. All right, so we see the option back from the main menu that the second option down is passphrase. So let's go ahead and scroll down and click into that. So you may add a passphrase to your BIP39 seed words. This creates an entirely new wallet for every possible passphrase. By default, the Coldcard uses an empty string as a passphrase. On the next menu, you can enter a passphrase by selecting individual letters, choosing from the word list recommended, or by typing numbers. Please write down the fingerprint of all your wallets so you can confirm when you got the right passphrase. If you are writing down the passphrase as well, it's okay to put them together. There is no way for the Coldcard to know if your password is correct, and if you have it wrong, you will be looking at an empty wallet. Limitations: 1,000 character, or not 1,000, 100 characters. Max length ASCII characters 32 to 136. Blah blah blah. Okay to start. So if you don't know, a passphrase is considered the 25th word. So you know how we enter 24 words into our seed phrase? Well, the passphrase is the 25th word. So you can add another word to that series of words to create an entirely new wallet instead of addresses. And this word is 100% customizable up to 100 characters. So you can set whatever you want as your passphrase. Now the thing is, if you lose your passphrase or forget your passphrase, well, you're going to lose your Bitcoin. So it's recommended that you never ever forget your passphrase if you use one. So it's kind of a more advanced feature and a little risky. You don't necessarily need a passphrase. The 24 words is definitely more than enough secure, but if you want that extra level of security, the passphrase is what you want to go ahead and set up probably. So anyway, we can go ahead and set it up for here. And oh, my transaction just confirmed. All right, cool. All right, let's go back. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK to start. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the phrase. And so now I can go ahead and type in whatever the heck I want to do for my passphrase. And again, this is like the 25th word. So it can be whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and do A, and then go over and press 1 for letters, and A, and over and press 1 for letters. And so I have 3 A's. But as you can see at the bottom, hopefully, we have the option for, let's see, letters, numbers, symbols, and swap case is number 4. So you can read the instructions on the screen, but 3 A's will be my passphrase. So I'm go ahead and press enter, and then I'm going to go ahead and come down to apply. So it's working. And so basically what it's doing is it's saving my passphrase to my seed phrase, and it's going to generate a whole new wallet instead of addresses. So there's my fingerprint right there, 482360D2. So that's something to note. So let me come back out here. Actually, let me scroll down. So it's saying that I could go ahead and save this new wallet to micro SD. And so let me go ahead and plug my micro SD card into my Coldcard real quick, and that way we can add it to Sparrow wallet. So that way I have, you know, my default wallet, which is just a 24 words, and then I also have my wallet that it uses the passphrase, the 25th word of AAA, all caps. So let me plug this thing in here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on 1 then. So it's saving, and then I'm going to go ahead and eject that card now, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my computer. And it actually didn't do what I wanted, so I'm going to go ahead and put the SD card back in my Coldcard and try a different way. So here I am back on my Coldcard, and I'm into the passphrase. So I actually want to go back down here to Advanced Tools, check, and then Export Wallet, check. And then again, I want to go ahead and do that a generic JSON file. And press 1. And again, account number, we're going to go ahead and leave blank. So it's generating. And then I'm going to go ahead and press 1 to save it to my SD card. And there we go. So that's the file, coldcard-export-2.json. So now I'll plug it into my computer and hopefully see what I was hoping to see the first time. And here it is, coldcard-export-2.json. So now I'll just come back over to Sparrow Wallet and file and new wallet, and I'll go ahead and call this one Coldcard Demo Passphrase AAA and create wallet. and then air-gapped hardware wallet and Coldcard, import file, navigate to my -2.json, open. There it is. There's my master fingerprint. So let's come back to my Coldcard real quick and back out of here, and we'll go ahead and scroll down to view identity and enter. So there's my fingerprint, 482360D2. So there we go. It matches what I see on Sparrow Wallet. And if I look at my Coldcard demo and I go to settings, we can see that it's that E49E6AAC fingerprint. So two completely different wallets, two completely different set of addresses, and so on. So anyway, if I clicked apply, and I'm not going to set a password this time just for example's sake, and you see I have a whole different list of addresses, so I could go ahead and export that list, compare it to what's on Sparrow Wallet and what's on my Coldcard, and make sure that my addresses are all different. So yeah, the passphrase generates a whole new wallet, whole different set of addresses, and so on. But the key thing is to make sure that you never ever forget your passphrase, or you're going to lose access to your Bitcoin. And so that's really it for this video. We went ahead and set up a Coldcard. We went through several different settings. We received some Bitcoin. We sent some Bitcoin. We went over passphrases. And there are a bunch of other additional settings for the Coldcard. I'm going to have another video on that. Sorry that I don't have it in this video, but we got to call it quits at a certain point. And I covered all the important stuff that you actually need to know in order to safely and securely hodl your Bitcoin forever. And that's really it for this video. If you liked it, I appreciate any sorts of likes, comments, subscribes, and or please check out thebtccourse.com. It's my passion project. I have lots of Bitcoin related training to help out fellow Bitcoin plebs on their Bitcoin journey. And yeah, hopefully you have a great rest of the day.